morning, everyone. Welcome to YouTube Live with Rusty. We're getting ready to start our Stretch and Flex yoga workout. It is straight up 9 o'clock. As usual, I'm going to give people just a few more moments to sign on and get ready. Something a little bit different in class today. Occasionally, I will do my yoga workout with my sneakers on. That is the case today. Feel free to do your yoga workout barefoot today. I just feel like having my sneakers on today, so that's the way I'm going to do it. So feel free to join me if you want to put shoes on, but as usual with our yoga workouts, footwear is optional. So good morning once again, and welcome to our Stretch and Flex yoga inspired workout today. As I just mentioned, I'm going to be doing my workout in my sneakers today. Just feel like having my shoes on for the movement today. Feel free to go barefoot, connect straight to the ground. Otherwise, feel free to join me with your sneakers on. Today's yoga workout, as always, is a combination of yoga poses as well as some of my favorite athletic stretches, just to give our body a full on ability to find some different ranges of motion, some flexibility techniques, and just to get your body moving in ways that we don't normally do in some of our strength training workouts. So we're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. Make sure your workout space is ready to go. Have a towel and some water nearby for the few breaks that I may give you. We will start off today with a little bit of sun salutations, but quickly move into some yoga poses and sprinter stretches, and we'll talk about that when we get there. For now, I'm going to step to the front and center of my mat. Breath work and some movement. Take a nice big inhale in. Arms come high. Exhale, just release the arms down by your side. Feel that tension release from your shoulders. Take another breath in again. Inhale. Reach high. Exhale. And drop down. One more time. Inhale. Let the arms stay overhead. Drop the shoulders away from your ears and slowly bend. The knees sitting back into your heels. Get as low as we can into what we call an intense pose. And then just lower your hands toward your feet, maybe your ankles, and slowly lengthen your legs. Relax your head and neck. Feel that lengthen up the back of your body. We're going to just bend the knees again, drop the hips as low as you can go, let the arms float up. Arms float back down, and as you exhale, lengthen the legs. Tightening the muscles in your thighs helps lengthen the back of the legs as well. Give that a shot. And again, bend the knees, drop the hips, let the arms come forward and overhead. Float down again with the hands, lengthen the legs. Now keep your hands down, soften your knees, step your left leg back to your lunge, straddle that forward leg. Take the back leg and lengthen it by tightening the muscles in your thigh. And now step back with your right leg into a downward facing dog. Open up the fingers, press through the palm of your hand. Sink your heels low as you lift your hips high. And come forward to a straight arm plank. Now as slow as we can, let's drop to the floor. Release the feet. Keep the arms close to the body as you press into baby cobra. Release down, tuck the toes. Press up and back to downward dog. Knees soften, bring that left foot all the way through. Help it if you need to. And lengthen the back leg. Step forward with that right foot. Lengthen your legs. And we were here so many times earlier. Let's drop down again. Bend your knees, lower your hips. Arms float high. Keep the hands high. Stand tall. Let the arms float down with an exhale. Inhale, arms reach forward and high. Draw the shoulders back. Drop low. Hands float down, legs lengthen. Step your right leg back to a lunge. And the left leg back to a downward dog. As you press into your hands, relax your shoulder blades, let them roll together. A lot of things happen in this pose. You can focus on all of them or one of them. My particular focus at this moment is in my shoulders, trying to get them to relax, let them roll together. I need to relax my head in order to do that. It allows me to push a little bit further and get a little higher in my hips by releasing that tension in my neck. Come forward to your straight arm plank, all the way down to the floor. Release the feet, press into baby cobra. Come on down, tuck the toes, press up and back to downward dog. Just briefly this time, soften your knees, pop that right foot all the way through. Step your left foot forward, lengthen the legs. Keep your hands down to the floor as you bend your knees, drop your hips, and now release the hands high. And slowly stand tall. Open the arms down to your side as you exhale. A few more times through this range, focusing on something each time. Inhale, arms high. Bend the knees. Connect to the floor, your feet or your ankles, lengthen the legs. Step your left foot back. Step the right foot back to downward dog. Here we go, let's find something else to focus on here. Last time it was relaxing about shoulders. Now let's work on lifting the hips. But don't do it at the peril of going to the toes. You want to keep the heels down and lift the hips at the same time. Draw your belly button in. Come forward to your straight arm plank. Now let's get a little stronger in this pose now. As we come on down to the floor, hold it a few inches before you get there. Slide forward and press. This time our hips and legs are off the ground into an up dog. Tuck your toes, lift the hips and press back again to downward dog. Just briefly, knees soften, step that left leg through, help it there if you need it. Right foot comes in to forward fold, lift the hips, relax the head. The knees, drop the hips down as low as they can go. Hands come high and slowly drive upward. Release the arms down as you exhale. And we're going to take through that motion one more time. Hands float high. Drop low. Hands to the floor and lengthen your legs. Step your left foot back to your lunge. And now your right foot back to downward dog. And one more focus here. Let's focus on the press through the hands. So again, relax the fingertips. You should be able to lift the fingertips and press through the palm of your hand, keeping the pressure off those tender digits. and go where the power is, and it's in the palm of your hand. Lengthen through the arms. Feel that power go from the floor through your shoulders as you press. Come forward to a straight arm plank, and just like we did last time, come on down, hover off the ground, glide forward, roll to the tops of your feet, and keep the hips up into an upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift and press back. Right foot all the way through. Left leg in. Lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, drop the hips. Arms reach high. Lengthen through the legs. Exhale and let the arms come down. Deep breath in, draw the shoulders back as you exhale. Connect the fingertips together, maybe interlace them behind you. Roll your shoulders back and press away. And release the hands. Let's step off your mat just briefly. Maybe get a sip of water. Kind of regroup from that initial warm-up motion of the sun salutation. And when you come back to your work spot, we're going to come on down to one knee and one foot. So I'm going to drop my left foot back on my leg that's closest to you. And we're just going to come to this position right here. So we're actually going to talk about this stretch or this pose or this movement kind of in reverse, and then we'll start from it a little bit earlier once we get through it. So what I want to start with is just trying to get one or both hands directly on the instep of that right foot. And a few things I want you to do once you're here. First thing is clear that tension in your neck and shoulders. You don't want to feel like you're shrugging. Second thing is lengthen your spine. So always reaching the crown of your head forward and not just collapsing down, rounding your back, trying to look underneath you. Look a little bit forward. And the last thing I want you to do is either try to slide that left knee backwards or reach your hip forward. Just remember, every time we're trying to stretch or develop some flexibility, think of the word lengthening, not compressing, not contracting. So you need to be active in that reach. So just slowly come on back up to where we started. And now we're going to get to that stretch that we just did in more of a power way. So come on back to both knees. Come down to your hands and knees. And just like we were a moment ago, we're going to come to a straight arm plank. So we're going to leave the knees off the ground. So a nice power pose here. Now, join me in a little push-up. You can go down as far as you want. But at the top of the push-up, drop to your left knee, bring that right foot around, and here we are in that pose. Lengthening the spine, lowering the hips, no tension in my neck. Bring the right foot back, drawing your hands and knees again. Hop off the knees, hold the plank. Take a push-up with me. Down, up, drop to the left knee, right foot comes around. Look where we are. Right back to that pose. So we're going to do that 2 more times. The next 2, I'm going to try to keep my left knee off the ground. If you want to drop to your knee, that's fine. Either way is good. So come back to all fours. Knees come up, push up. Right foot around. keeping my knee up off the ground. Lengthening my body. Heads forward, no tension in my neck and shoulders. I'm actively keeping that left leg away from my upper body. Bring the foot back. I'm going back to that plank. Here we go, push up. Right foot around. Lengthen. Back to the straight arm plank. Come back to both knees. Take it back to a quick child's pose stretch. And then come all the way up. And now we're going to bring that left foot forward. Now I'm going to stay facing this direction just so you can see what goes on the opposite side as we go through the same delineation of that stretch, of that pose, movement, whatever you want to call it. So let's start with getting that right hand down. Again, it's right through the instep of my foot. And then let's bring the other hand down. And just work this position for a while. Notice my knee is always right on top of my ankle. No matter what level of the stretch that I'm in, whether I'm on my knee, off my knee, that part I always want to keep the same. Tension out of my neck and shoulders. I'm trying to lengthen my spine. Sliding that right leg back behind me. Let's come back to all fours. All right, let's work it twice with the knee down from that push-up position. So here we go. Off to the plank. Push up. Drop to the right knee. Bring that left foot around. Lengthen. Bring it back to all fours. So one of the things you want to try to do is when we bring that foot forward, is try to get it to land in that proper position with that foot on your knee every time. Remember, feel free to grab your hand, or take your hand and grab your foot to put it in the right position before you start activating that stretch. Here we go. Straight arm plank, push up. Drop to the right knee. Left foot comes around. So this is what I'm talking about. If you want to grab that foot, walk it to its right spot, and then start that stretch. All fours. Now these next two, I'm going to stay off my knees the entire time. Here we go. Straight arm plank. Push up. Left foot around. Lengthen. So that left foot coming on the outside, much different than we do in our sun salutation where we get it to go between our hands. This is a much different stretch and feel. Back to the straight arm plank. One more time. Push up. Left foot around. Back to the straight arm plank. Drop to both knees. Sit back to a child's pose stretch. And just sit back to your heels and relax. So we're gonna progress from that position, from that pose, into a warrior pose. First one we're gonna throw up is gonna be lunging warrior. So that all that means is the lunging warrior is our back foot stays on our toe rather than turn to a flat foot. So we're gonna go from that straight arm plank. One foot comes around, and while that other leg is off the ground, we're going to take our hands off the ground and rise straight up. Now we're going to alternate sides. So let's start back, hands under shoulders. Take a deep breath in as you exhale. Let's come to your straight arm plank. You want to do a push-up with me? Let's go. Push up. Right foot to the outside of your right hand. Now keep that left leg back in your lunge. And now both hands come up. And we're into that lunging warrior. So now we're still trying to drop the hips. Look at my front leg. That knee is still directly over my ankle, my foot. Draw the shoulders back without creating tension. Take the hands down to the inside of that right foot. Step back with that right leg into your straight arm plank. Hold. Push up. Left foot around. Get your alignment straight, strong in your core. Let's go, take it up. Draw the shoulders back, lengthen your back leg. Hands to the ground, step back in your straight arm plank. Go down to your knees just for a moment. We're going to hit those same two. This time we're going to turn the back foot into your warrior pose. All that means is we turn it and flatten the foot out. We go from our toes to the flat foot. Ready? Straight arm plank. I keep throwing in these push-ups. If you don't want to do the push-up with me, just hold the plank a little bit longer. Here we go. Push. Right foot around. Turn that back foot flat. Rise. Now a lot more ability to press with that back foot now to really drive that stretch, but don't let it get you out of alignment with that front foot. Draw the shoulders back. Hands to the floor. Pivot off that back foot to the straight arm plank. Push up. Left foot around. Turn your back foot. Find it, grab that floor and rise. Reach the hands, lower the hips. Hands to the floor. Back to your straight arm plank. Drop to your knees and sit back. So we're using a lot of strength today, if you haven't noticed, to get into our warrior poses. So as we continue, we're going to go, instead of rising into warrior 1, we're going to rise up into warrior 2. A little more flow to this one. Remember, flow doesn't mean fast, doesn't mean quick. It just means we're going to move without a lot of static positioning in those poses. Now, what I'll do for this one is I'll take the push-ups out of it, but we're all going to hold that plank just a little bit longer on each side. Here we go. Straight arm plank. Lock your core in. Right foot around. Turn that back foot. Rise, warrior 2. Keep your eyes forward over that forward hand. Take a breath, sink a little bit lower. Now just take that back hand, bring it around, drop to the floor, come back to that straight arm plank. How's your plank feeling today? Left foot around. Back foot turns to your warrior. Use your core to stand. Eyes over that forward hand, draw the shoulders back. As you exhale, sink a little bit lower. Bring that right hand around. Drop. Straight arm plank. Abs in tight and strong. Right foot around. Back foot turns. Rise. Left hand comes back. Float to the floor. Straight arm plank. Hold. leg around. Back foot turns, lift. Draw the shoulders back. Bring that back hand around, find the floor. Back to a straight arm plank. Down to your knees, sit back and relax. We're going to increase that flow a little bit. We're going to go from warrior 1 to warrior 2, all in that same pose, or in that same movement. So one thing I want to make sure you're doing is using your strength and control to go from pose to pose, movement to movement, and you don't find yourself using momentum, or you don't find yourself falling into the poses, catching yourself, and then trying to reset. If you're learning something new, that is always the learning curve, is to try to get from one pose to the next seamlessly. So a lot of what we're using, even though we're connecting to the ground with our hands and our feet and our legs are supporting us, a lot of what we're doing is core control. Particularly as we go from plank to warrior, when you're taking those hands off the ground, try not to push, and again, catch yourself. You want to use to strengthen your core to do the movements. So as we do that right now, that's what I want you to focus on, is how much control you have in the center of your body as we go from pose to pose. So here we go. Straight arm plank. Right foot around. Turn that back foot. We're going straight overhead. Now, how fast did you get off the ground? Slowly. Use a lot more core control. Now open to warrior 2. Take a breath, sink a little bit lower. Bring that back hand around, float to the floor, back to your straight arm plank. Left foot around. Back foot turns, straight up. Use your core control. Come up slowly. Open to warrior 2. Bring that right hand around. Come on back down, straight arm plank. Let's go through that again. We didn't rest. Hold the plank. Right foot around. Straight up. Interlace the fingers this time. Really draw the shoulders back. Get lower in your hips as you open to warrior 2. Bring that back hand around, float down. One more time on the other side. Get to your plank and hold. Focus, here we go. Left foot around. Back foot turns. Slowly come up, interlace your fingers, draw the shoulders back. Go lowering your hips as you open to warrior 2. Back hand around, float down. Straight arm plank. Come down as slow as you can to the floor. Release the feet. Press to a baby cobra. Take it down, tuck the toes, press up and back to a downward dog. Now as we come through with the legs, we're coming through in between. Bring that right foot all the way through. Left foot follows, forward fold. Soften your knees, drop your hips, go low. Release the hands forward and high. Slowly lengthen your legs. Exhale, lower the arms. Great job, guys. Step off your mat, take another short break. We'll come back and continue the work. Let's go ahead and stay upright as we continue along. We're going to work into some wide stance, forward facing this time. This is going to bring into a little bit of a feel of some of the Cossack squat side lunges that we do in our strength workouts. But this work will help you get a little bit more balanced, find muscles that you don't normally use in some of the workouts, because again, we're going to be slowing this down and breaking it down. So as always, whenever I get into a wide stance, and you've heard me talk about this before, I'm always correcting my foot position. I always want to feel like I'm in alignment. So depending on where my upper body goes, you may see me turn my feet one way or the other. And all I'm trying to do when I do that is to get my knees and my feet and my ankles to line up when they bend. So what that means is if I want my knee to go straight out to the side, I'm going to turn my foot and let it go that way. It's very awkward to have your foot in one direction and ask your knee to go in the other direction. Doesn't feel good, it's not good biomechanics, and I don't want you to hurt yourself. So, different ranges of motion, my feet are going to be in just different positions. So, whether I cue it to you or not, I need you to be aware of that as well. That as we start to bend your knees a little bit, your foot position will allow you to get a little deeper, find muscles you haven't used before, and put you in a better position to go deeper into the pose or to the stretch. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to keep our left leg straight. We're going to bend that right knee forward, and we're going to go into just a basic kind of a side lunge. Okay, and what I'm trying to do here is get my body weight to sit into my backside on my right side. So again, my knee is going in the same direction as my toe. Both feet are staying flat. There's a little bit of roll on my left leg. And we're going to come all the way back up to center. Correct your feet if you need to. And let's go to the other side. Again, feel that body weight shift back. Good, come on back to center. Now, if you're going over to one side and you find all your body weight going into the front of your foot and your heel lifting off the ground, that's basically you sending your upper body weight forward over your knee. Remember, you want to try to sit backwards. Okay, I'll see if I can turn a little bit so you can kind of see that. So as I go out to the side, here we go. I'm going backwards. And if I looked straight down, my knee is still aligned right over my foot. If you see that knee going way forward, letting that heel come off the ground, that's a lot of pressure there. You want to sit back into those bigger muscles and behind your legs. So let's stay on that right side for a moment. Good, come back to the center. Let's go to the other side. Now come back to center. Now in our warrior poses, whether it's triangle, warrior one, warrior two, our knee is always going forward. So what I want to do now, go ahead and turn that foot all the way facing the side. And now, same principle. Here we go. Leg straight. Let's just work on bending. Remember, you see this knee is always over my foot. It's never extending past my toes because that makes the heel come off the ground. And I don't want to be so far out, okay, to where the lower part of my leg is on that big of an angle. So again, constantly adjusting your foot, both sides, to get into that position. Good, come back to center. I'm going to flip my feet. Now come back to center. Now, we've talked everything about the upper body. Let's talk about lower body. Let's talk about the upper body. As we go back out to the side again. Now, focus on your body weight of your torso staying directly over your hips. Imagine your hips being this big cradle or this tray, and the weight of your upper body, you want to stay centered over that tray. So here we go. Think about your hips staying level. Just bend your knee and keep your body weight supported over your hips. There's a big difference if all of a sudden you start leaning one way or you try to take it back the other way. Just be balanced and centered right over your hips. Should allow you to get a little bit deeper in your stretch or into that pose. Come back to center, flip your feet. Let's go to the other side. Now, always be aware, do you have better control of that upper body weight going in one direction versus the other? That's all in your core control. Good, come back to center. We're gonna go back to more of that Cossack squat now again. So keeping the toes more facing forward. Ready? Here we go. Sit back. That's different than that warrior lunge where we have that foot turned out. Feel the difference? Go to the other side. Now let's feel something even more different. As we go to the right side, I want you to take your left foot, turn it out, let the heel connect to the ground, toe go up to the ceiling. Here we go. Different feel. Nothing has changed on the right side, but now without that support in your foot, a lot more work on the inner thigh on that left side. Let's go to the other side. Foot lifts, heel down. Good, let's do that one more time to each side. If you're used to doing these in my strength-based workouts that we do sometimes in my boot camp, we don't break it down this much. We're interested more in reps. So take it here, step or hop your feet back underneath your hips for a moment. Let's close up that stance, shake it out before we get back out there again. So this gives you a chance to use that same motion as both a strength move as well as a stretch move, rather than us doing it like we do on our boot camps where we're trying to get, sometimes 15, 20 reps in doing our circuit time. So we're gonna go back out into those side-to-side moves. And then we're gonna bring in a little bit of our upper body movement as well, coming into some of the poses we were in earlier today. So let's go ahead and step back out wide. And again, be conscious of where your feet are going to be as we change poses. We're just starting wide. So here we go. Over to the right side, turn that foot. Now, both hands down to the floor, pivot off that back foot, and look where we are. We're into that lunge stretch where we were at the very start of today. We just got there in a different way. So to get out of it, remember what we talked about. The muscles in the center of your body. Don't push off your hands and just catch yourself in momentum. So as you turn, drop that foot, use your core control, come back up, change your feet. Here we go, over to the other side. Drop your hands, pivot off the back foot. We're in our lunge stretch. Back foot turns, hands off the ground, come back center. Now, Cossack squat, both feet facing forward or as best we can. Take it over. Hands to the floor. Turn, both feet pivot. Now both feet need to pivot again. Right back to that Cossack squat. Power up. Other side. Go down. Hands to the floor. Pivot both feet. Lunge stretch. With your hands on the floor, pivot your feet and come on up. You see all of that changing of positions brings us back to the same pose, just getting into it a different way. Ready? Let's go down again. We're going to find something new. Down. Just the right foot. Turns. Rise to warrior two. Take your hands down. Pivot off that foot. Come back to center. Rise. Keep your feet facing forward. Down to the floor. Just your left foot. Turns. Rise to warrior two. All kind of different ways to get to the same pose. Hands to the floor. Pivot forward. Come on back to center. Keep both feet facing forward. Here we go. Bend it, hands to the floor. Turn that right foot. Turn to that back foot. And lift straight up. Lunging warrior. Hands down. Pivot both feet. Come on up. Other side. Pivot both feet. Rise. Lunging warrior. Hands down. Pivot the feet. Come on up. Step or hop your feet underneath you. It's a lot of work, guys, in your legs and in your core and in your strength. Take a breath, grab some water, head on down to the floor on your back. We're going to do a little bit of passive hip stretching to finish off today. So since we were so active in our standing poses, we'll come on down to the floor and relax as we get into our hip work. And this will take us right to the end of our workout today. Grab a hold of your knees, hug them as you come back in. Now keep your knees into your chest, let your arms go out to the side, let your knees and feet fall all the way to the left side, as far as they want to go without letting your shoulders come off the ground. And use to strengthen your abs and your core to get to the other side. Come back to center. Knees and feet together, feet on the floor. I want you to fold that left knee all the way down. Now, push the left knee into the ground as you use your right side to push up and over. So the right side is basically doing a bridge. The left knee is pushing into the ground. You're activating your glutes. And as you activate the muscles underneath you, the muscles in front of you relax, allowing you to open up to the front part of your hips. Come on down. Just take a breath. We're going to reset and just do that one more time. Remember, actively push that left knee into the ground. Here we go. Push it down, and now push up with the right side. Bring it down, knees up. Let's reset to the other side now. Right knee goes down. Left leg pushes up, right knee pushes down. Activate the glutes and hamstrings underneath you so the muscles in front of you release. And relax down. One more time. Actively push that right knee into the ground and drive up using the left side. And release down. Both knees together. Now let both knees fall out, soles of your feet together. Put one hand underneath your back to feel that big space between the floor and your low back. Pelvic tilt to get rid of that space, but keep the knees down. Again, push the heels together hard against each other. That activates your glutes as you go into your pelvic tilt and allows everything on the inside to relax. Release. Knees come up, feet go flat. Right foot crosses over the left knee. Actively drive your abs tight, pushing your back to the ground, and just push the right knee away, leveraging against that left knee. Now just slide that right hand through your legs, that left hand comes around, grab the front of your left knee and pull back. Try to keep that left foot relaxed. No need to flex it or point it, just let it hang down. release, and we're going to change sides. Left foot over right knee. Drive your back into the ground by anchoring your abs. Push the left knee away. Now take your left hand through the legs, right hand comes around, grab the front of your left knee, front of your right knee and pull back. And release. Hug both knees into your chest. Now this time we are going to use the hands. We're going to take the left hand across the right knee and actively push with that left hand down. If both knees and feet are hitting the ground and you need more of a stretch than this, extend the left leg away from you, the top leg away from you, which for me is my right leg. Extend it away and push down. Then come on back to center, plug your knees in and take it to the other side. Use that right hand on top of the left knee. Push it down, extend it if you need to. Release, come back to center. Hug your knees, tuck your chin to your chest. We're going to rock it back and forth a few times, enough to gain some energy to pull you up to a seated position. Hands next to your hips to push you up. We're going to let our hands go in front. And you've been here before. We're going to drop the heels, find yourself into a forward fold. Relax your head and neck, lengthen your legs. Soften your knees, drop your butt, keep your feet flat, hands release forward and overhead, and then slowly lengthen your legs. Exhale, let your arms come down by your side. Interlace your fingers behind you. Press your hands away. And release. Well, that felt great for me, guys. I hope it did for you as well. A lot of work in our core and in our legs today, exploring the different methods to get into the lunge stretch as well as the warrior poses. So if you're a little bit more tight through your quads, your hips, and particularly maybe your inner thighs, that's probably expected from today's movement.